Hello everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we are going to be covering all of my advice I have for those of you who are interested in starting your own YouTube channel. And I think this video will be especially really helpful for people who are looking to actually start or grow their YouTube channel as a smaller content creator, because it's coming from a smaller content creator. So I can really show you what has helped my channel and what has not helped my channel. YouTube is basically one big algorithm, and there is a method to growing your YouTube channel that a lot of people don't cover in their videos. And I am here to tell you all of the information that you need to know. So without further ado, subscribe if you enjoy this video, and let's get into everything you need to know. Starting off with probably one of the bigger things that people worry about, equipment. The biggest thing that I can tell you is that you don't need fancy equipment to get good quality videos. I do film videos on a camera. I use the Canon SX730HS, but I also vlog on my phone a lot of the time. So the biggest thing is your strategy for filming rather than what you're filming with. For tripods, they are definitely helpful, but if you don't want to buy a tripod, you don't need to get a tripod. I recently just invested in a good quality tripod, and for the longest time I was literally just stacking things or putting my camera somewhere or putting my phone somewhere. If you do it well, the audience can't tell if you don't have a tripod. I'll also have everything that I personally use linked in the description box to make things easier for everyone. The most important thing that I will say about equipment is that you need good lighting. For vlogs, I don't really use a light or anything. I just try and find good lighting in a room, maybe outside near a window. But if I do want to use a light in the evening, like right now, I will use a tiny little square light that I got on Amazon. Again, I'll link it down below. But good lighting is very important. It will make or break the quality of your video in seconds. Personally, I feel like the lighting is what either attracts me or deters me from a video. A microphone is completely optional. I do personally use a microphone most of the time for sit-down videos like this one because I have one, because I'm a podcaster. By the way, go listen to Chaos and Coffee. It's on my YouTube channel, or you can listen to it on Spotify. The sound is probably going to change in a second because I'm going to lift it up, but I use the Zeal Sound camera, or this is not a camera. I use the Zeal Sound microphone. It is super helpful. It's very inexpensive on Amazon, and I really like the quality, but you absolutely do not need a microphone. Another thing that I think is super intimidating for some people is editing software. I personally like to use iMovie. It is super easy for me to use. It's free on my MacBook. I occasionally will use Adobe Premiere for color correction, but I actually just recently learned how to do color correction on iMovie, so I don't know if I'm gonna use Adobe Premiere anymore. But I do really like iMovie, so if you're not looking to do like beyond fancy videos, you're just looking to do some normal YouTube videos, iMovie will work for you. Later in the video, I will be going over my editing styles and tips that I have for editing, so stay tuned for that. And finally, for equipment, definitely have a good background. It doesn't need to be fancy, but I think that the cleaner the background looks, aka you just don't have like piles of stuff behind you, as long as it's a nice, appealing background. It doesn't need to be like bursting with color and decor, but as long as it doesn't look overwhelming. Now let's get into planning videos. You can really tell if someone has put the time in to plan their videos, non-vlog related, but you can tell if someone has really taken the time to plan their videos compared to someone who is just putting together a video to put together a video. I would recommend having somewhere to take notes, like a Google Doc, just a pad of paper. I have this notebook from Target that I'm currently using, and there's about 8 pages of notes in here specifically for this video. It's also really helpful to plan videos like a week ahead of time, just so you can make sure that you have everything that you need for your video before you sit down to film it. This will also help with video consistency because it is important to have a pretty consistent uploading schedule. I'll get more into a consistent editing schedule and tips I have for that in a little bit. For coming up with ideas, this is not my own advice. This is actually advice I found on a few other people's channels, but I actually found this to be really mind-blowing, and I haven't used this before, but I can totally see how this would work. In order to find what is currently trending, open YouTube in an incognito tab. This is not going where you're thinking it's gonna go. Don't worry. In the search section, look up the words how to and see all of the possible answers that it has listed below. This will show you an unfiltered version of what is trending under topics on YouTube, basically. By using the incognito browser, it's not using the data from your own channel, so it's not gonna like look up what you want to see, it's gonna look up what everyone wants to see. And you can use these topics as inspiration for your own videos. For example, if you see how to do your own nails, maybe do a get ready with me and include yourself doing your nails, or a glow up routine, or whatever you want to film, or maybe include it in a vlog. So you're not copy and pasting what these topics are, you are seeing what topics are trending and you're including them in a part of your video. It's important to do this method rather than just copying what you see as trending, because you want to stick with a niche and something that you actually want to be doing. I would recommend staying away from too specific of a niche. Instead, use a more broad niche such as lifestyle, beauty, kitchen stuff, cooking, baking, something that has room to grow. So let's go into video ideas that I have as inspiration for you guys. First, I'm gonna start off with vlogs. You can do a day in my life, a week in my life. You can just vlog some sort of experience you have going on. For example, if you're moving into a new space, you can vlog the experience of that. If you're going through sorority recruitment, you can vlog the experience of that. People do like vlogs, and vlogs do not really go out of style, so it is a great thing to do. Something that is a good idea is tutorials, but I would recommend not doing too many of the same tutorial because you don't want to overly niche yourself. For example, maybe you have some sort of makeup routine you want to do, or some sort of hairstyle you want to show, or maybe your nails or food or whatever tutorial you want to do. But just make sure it is a topic that can also be webbed out into other topics, so you're not stuck doing makeup only on your channel, unless you want to. But I wouldn't recommend it. I would recommend branching out so you're not stuck in one niche. Routines are also super popular. The word routine itself is not popular anymore. It was popular like in the early 2010s. But nowadays, the idea and the concept of going through a routine is still popular. I have a few examples of how you can take a routine and still make it like a trending topic. For example, if you want to do a morning routine, you can do a get ready with me. If you want to do a night routine, you can do like a self-care routine, a get unready routine with me. For makeup routines, you can also do a get ready with me, or you can like test makeup. Also, what I eat in a day videos or what I eat in a week videos are cool to make. You can also just watch other people's videos and see what's trending for some inspiration on what you should do. See their video, see what you like in the video, and then incorporate that into your own video. Now moving on to filming your video. So now that your video is prepared, you have some sort of script to go along with your video. Unless it's a vlog, don't have a script for your vlog. You want vlogs to be like your authentic self and what you're doing in your day. Now we can start filming. I would recommend blocking out the allotted time that you need for your video before actually filming. Something that I think I didn't realize until a few weeks ago when I was actually doing research for this video is that the attention span of people for YouTube specifically has changed a lot. Since short form content is a lot more popular, here's my recommendations of how to get your videos to be more intriguing as longer form content. If your video is a vlog or some sort of period through your life, I would aim to have your final product of your video to be about 20 minutes minimum, 40 minutes maximum. If it is a sit down video like this, I would aim for less than 20 minutes. Since nobody is perfect, and if you are, how do you do it? But anyways, since nobody's perfect, you're probably gonna have twice as much footage as your final product. So I would recommend having at least 60 minutes of footage, and you can edit that down to about a 20-minute or less video if it's a sit-down video. I already said this, but make sure you find good lighting to film. The better quality that your raw footage is, meaning the footage that is coming directly from the camera or the device you use to film unedited, the less work you'll have to do for the final product when you're editing. Something else that is super important is that when you're speaking, sound interested in what you're speaking about. Don't sound fake about something. Don't be overly excited about it if you're not overly excited about it. If you are overly excited about it, be overly excited about it. But if you're simply just doing a sit-down video talking about something like I am, don't be like all woo, like, you know, like overly excited about something just to get views. Sound authentic about what you're talking about. Specifically for vlogs, definitely keeping things real. Don't just like create some sort of concept to add into your vlog unless that's like the whole point of your vlog, which it might not do well if that's your intention with your vlog. If you're filming like a get ready with me and then you spill your powder all over the floor, you spilled your powder all over the floor. Vlog it. People like funny stuff like that. But don't intentionally spill your powder all over the floor because people will also gather that if you did it on purpose. With that said, also show your mistakes. Be a real human being. That's what people like to watch these days. Show what you're doing. And with that, if you are vlog shy in public, I am very vlog shy in public. My biggest tip that I can give is to collect B-roll. And if you don't know what that is, it's essentially videos that go along with music that still show what you're doing, but you're not like, hey, this is what I'm doing right now. Like, just like get some little clips of what you're doing. And then you can just put music over that. It's still you vlogging, but it's not as like intimidating as vlogging like out there, you know what I mean? That's actually one of my favorite things to do when I'm out and about, is to gather B-roll, because that's actually really interesting parts of a vlog. Now moving on to how I actually edit my videos. My biggest tip of advice for editing videos in general is to edit as you go. Don't just sit down and edit everything at once. I find that my video editing abilities are so much better when I space out my editing times. Like I take maybe like 20 to 30 minutes every day to just edit a chunk of the video. And this is also why it's important to plan ahead and film and plan your videos ahead of time so you have the time to do this. A good YouTube video should take you at least like an hour or two to edit, depending on what it is. It could take more. This video is probably going to take me about 4 hours total to edit because I have so much going into it. So if you give yourself the time, maybe like 20-30 minutes every day just to edit a small chunk of it, maybe one day you're doing a rough cut, one day you're adding in everything. And again, in a little bit, I'm gonna go over like the actual like process of editing if you aren't familiar with it. It will help uploading videos and producing videos be a less daunting task. So again, I did mention earlier in the video that I like to use iMovie. It's free if you have a MacBook, it's super easy to use, and it's good for almost every single editing style. My recommended editing template that I like to use is 5-ish steps, give or take, depending on what kind of video it is, or just what the video needs from my editing. The steps that I will go more into depth with in just a second is a rough cut, jump cuts, fine-tuning, text, and music. You can also do color correction if you do need it, but sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. Starting with a rough cut. So the process of your rough cut is literally just going through the entire video beginning to end and taking out bits of the video that you don't want. You're not adding anything into the video at this point besides your raw footage, and you're not embellishing these clips. You are just simply going through the video and taking out like likes, buts, not butts, well, butts. Any moments that you don't want in the video, this is where you take them out. A common term that is used when you're going through your rough cut section is splitting clips. This essentially means that you're just chopping them in half, or you're chopping them like where you want to chop them. So that instead of it being 1 clip, it's 2 clips, 3 clips, however many. A super easy MacBook shortcut that you can use for this is Command B. And again, I would really recommend keeping in some bloopers. People like it when people are acting like people, not robots. So if there's a moment when you like drop something and you're like, keep that in, it's funny. Moving into the next step of editing, you're gonna start doing jump cuts. So taking the rough cut footage that you have, you can start working on jump cuts. This is just a more in-depth version of a rough cut. This is how you make the clips look more exciting. For example, maybe I might make one clip look more zoomed in just to emphasize what I'm saying. I might add transitions. I might speed up some clips. I might slow down some clips. I also might mute some clips if it is B-roll to have music over it. Next is fine-tuning. This is pretty much everything you're gonna do before you start adding stuff to your video. This is like if you need to blur something, if you wanna add an intro and an outro to your video. By the time you have fully completed these 3 steps, there are people walking by. One moment. Anyways, by the time that you are done with this step, you should be able to watch this video from start to end with no edits needed. The next step you're gonna do is adding in text. The key to a good video is for you to not just be done after the first 3 steps. There should be other things that you want to add to the video, such as text. I would recommend avoiding those like basic iMovie transitions, like the one with like the sparkles. There's also a few good tutorials I found on YouTube of how to download my own fonts so they look less basic. But this is just basically how you're going to add text to your video. I feel like the lighting is really bright. But don't go too text crazy, but text definitely does help. For example, in vlogs, if there's a little detail you want to add about what you're doing, you can. In sit-down videos like this one, you can add like titles to the different sections. But text is also super important, especially if you're adding in information that is not already disclosed from what you're saying in the vlog. The next step would be to add sounds and music. Definitely adjust the clip volume or the music volume to go along with the video. Meaning, if you're doing B-roll, your video clip should already be muted or minimized, and make sure that the music is the same volume as the sound portions of your video. That way you're not deafening anyone while they're listening to your video. Also, finding copyright-free music, super important if you want to be monetized in the future. YouTube does have a library of copyright-free music that I would recommend checking out. Moving on to color correction. This should be a step that you do during your fine-tuning step before you add anything else to your video, but I did want to mention this as a separate category just because I do have a lot of notes for color correction. Color correction is not necessary. You don't need to do it, but you can do it if you do have kind of weird lighting in your video. For example, the lighting in this video is pretty dull. The basics that I would recommend doing is adjusting brightness. It is New Year's Eve and people are lighting fireworks. That is awesome. Anyways, I would recommend doing brightness, contrast, slight saturation, not too much, and sharpness. Moving on to thumbnails. Thumbnails are arguably one of the most important things other than editing and planning. Your thumbnail is your ad for your video. This is what people see before they even click on your video. This is what is going to make people decide to watch your video or not. When you're making your thumbnail, think of these questions. Why should someone be watching your video? And what should someone be getting out of watching your video? I would recommend that your pictures have good lighting. You can edit your pictures however you'd like. My recommendation would to be screenshotting directly from your video. If it's a vlog and you did take pictures like on your phone or something of what you're doing and it's also in the vlog, you can also totally just use pictures that you took. But again, avoid overly saturating your pictures and make sure that they are clear, not blurry pictures. And they should also show the important parts of your video that are the reasons why someone should click on it. If you're doing like a sit-down video or something like that, take a few minutes to literally pose for your thumbnail. Because if you forget to do this and then you realize you didn't do this, it's gonna be really hard to find a good picture for your video or for your thumbnail. When adding text to your thumbnail, simple is better. Make sure that it is clear and legible, and also make sure it's cohesive with the photos in the thumbnail. The most important thing about thumbnails that will not work for you in 2024 is clickbait. Do not use clickbait, especially if it is not something that will be in your video. Or actually, don't use false clickbait. Let's say in the video you fell down and injured yourself and it's like a vlog or something. That would be good clickbait to use. Let's say you make a joke with your friend in a vlog about you getting engaged, but you don't actually get engaged. But in your thumbnail, you're like, oh my gosh, I got engaged. That is not good clickbait to use. If you mislead your audience, they're not gonna come back and watch your video. The goal is to come up with a good video that makes your audience want more from you. I personally like to use Canva for my thumbnails, but the one thing I can say about using Canva is do not use Canva if you're looking for an easy way to make your thumbnails. The reason why I like Canva is because they give you good templates, but I would not just like use a template, throw a picture on, and then use the text, alter the text. Personalize these templates because they are very obvious if you don't. It is very obvious if you don't. For this final part, I wanted to film it on my phone for a few reasons. My camera battery died, and number two, I did want to prove the point that it is totally doable to film a video on your phone and still make it look good. So moving into the last few sections of this video, we're going to talk about consistency. It is super important to create and maintain an upload schedule. This can be daily, which is kind of daunting, so I wouldn't recommend starting with daily. Twice a week, which is totally doable, but again, it is a lot of work. And the sweet spot is weekly. In your videos or somewhere in the description, you should mention your upload schedule so people know when to expect uploads from you. I tend to upload weekly. I like to post videos around the weekend point, but honestly, I haven't created like a solid schedule for myself because I like to focus on the solid schedule for my podcast. Here are some tricks that I have for maintaining an upload schedule. I like to prepare for my videos as far in advance as I possibly can. That way I have ample time to film these videos. And finally, I just have some various tips that didn't really fit into another category, or I thought of them later after planning, because I do that a lot. For your profile picture for your YouTube channel, I would recommend using a profile picture that very clearly shows you and not much else in the background for your channel banner. This is just like another ad for your channel. Google has a lot of really good templates for size measurements since your channel banner will look different on different devices. I would recommend going simple, including your name, maybe what your channel does, maybe another photo of yourself, but don't add too much information. Something that you can do internally in your channel to see why people enjoy your videos or how people found your videos is to go to the research tab in your channel settings and go in advanced mode. This will show you what people searched up to find your videos and other videos that they watched that are similar to yours. This can also help with your strategies with titles and with thumbnails. You can also see information about your CTR, which is your click-through rate. Essentially, when you upload a video, just kind of like how TikTok is, the platform, in this case YouTube, will first show your video to a small collection of people. If that does well and people are looking at your video and enjoying your video and watching a decent chunk of your video, then your video will be shown to more people and more people and more people. So that's why thumbnails, titles, and everything like that is super, super important. And a really interesting tip that I actually saw in another person's video was saying that since people have such shorter attention spans nowadays, it is important to get to the point in your intro. Don't just like say a bunch of random stuff and then get into your topic. Say hello, greetings, this is what I'm talking about. I also wanted to show you guys that filming on your laptop also could be an option. You do need to be more careful about filming on your laptop since the quality of the camera is not as good. You can also get like a webcam or something, but it's totally doable. This is how I sometimes film my video versions of my podcast. But I also did want to show that this is an option. But moving on to titles. This is just as important as your thumbnail. The way that YouTube works is that it gathers what you say, audibly say in your videos, what you put in your description, what's on your thumbnail, and what is in your titles to show to the audience. So if you just have like, get ready with me in your title, your video will be shown to fewer people on the platform, simply because it is too broad and not specified of a topic to show to specific people. So if you put like a get ready with me, doing my makeup, doing my hair, doing my nails, more people are gonna see this video. Using keywords is super, super, super important in your video, in your title, and in your thumbnail, and also description. Tags do not play an important part in showing your video in the platform. What you say in your video does. In your description, this is a great way to connect with your audience, also with your comments. In your description, you should also mention a brief summary of what's going to be said in the video. In your video, you should refer to the description box if you have things that you want people to go check out. And engagement is super, super, super important. Another tip that I saw on other people's videos that I thought was super important is to engage with your community. If someone comments, even if you only get like 2 comments, reply to their comments, because those few people see that you're like, oh my gosh, thank you so much, or oh my gosh, like here's the answer to whatever you asked. They'll stick around because they see that you care. Also, asking questions in your video for people to comment, great way to get engagement. Post on your social media and the community section of your YouTube channel. And most importantly, it is so important to remember that you are not going to blow up overnight. And if you do, this is not how you are going to physically grow your channel. You just got lucky. When people see that you're putting in hard work and effort into your channel and into your videos, this is why people watch your videos. This is why people will continue to come back and watch your videos. With that said, that is all of the advice that I have for you guys. I know that this was a lot of information, and I hope that you guys take something away from this video. If you are looking to start a channel, if you're a small creator and you want more information, this is a lot of information that I recently learned as well that really opened my eyes about a lot of different things and honestly showed me why some of the things that I thought were going to do really well didn't do well. But again, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did enjoy this video and you want to see more from me, please go watch the rest of the videos on my channel. I also do post my podcast on here, as well as Spotify if you wanted to watch that. It is called Chaos and Coffee. Season 2 just came out, so you guys can go listen to the first episode. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!